Hi, it's me, Jacqueline. Welcome to my channel. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to my channel and join me at Patreon. Link in the description. She sat back down as the tea arrived. It's better your landlord sees you like you are. After all, once we've paid up and cleared your room, you probably won't see him ever again, and he certainly won't recognize you in a few weeks' time. As Cindy handed out the cups of tea, I sat down and wondered just what my landlord was going to say when I turned up as a woman. Then my concentration was broken by Laura as she all but marched over to me and pulled my knees together. "Sally, keep those knees together. A girl never sits down like that," she said in what I took was a mild rebuke. "Either that or cross one leg over the other like this." She crossed my left leg over the right and positioned it so that it was close against the right leg. It's much more womanly to keep both legs together, although it is allowable to have your legs outstretched when you're showing off your pretty heels, and you should swing your crossed leg like this. She demonstrated how to swing the outstretched leg back and forth. It drives men wild when they see a gorgeous girl showing off her heels, you'll see. I found keeping my legs in the position quite difficult, and I really had to sit up straight to maintain the posture. Laura sat back down, took a sip of her tea, and offered me encouragement. "Don't worry, Sally, you'll soon get the hang of it." Of that fact, I never doubted it. I sipped my tea and wondered just what sort of training lay ahead. Miss Roberts put her empty cup on the table and got up. "I'm going to change into some jeans and trainers after I've had a shower. Sally, you can collect the bin bag from your room and bring it downstairs. We can take it with us and drop everything off at the tip in one visit." She stopped halfway up the staircase and waited until I had caught up with her. "Oh, and you just might want to change that top. It is Sunday after all, and we don't want to give your landlord the wrong impression." I watched her walk down the hall towards her bedroom, then I made my way into my room in order to collect the bag and choose another top. I unclipped the choker from my neck and put it on the dressing table. As I glanced at my reflection, I had to agree with Miss Roberts that if my landlord was going to see me, then I should tone it down a little. From the wardrobe, I chose a short-sleeved red polo neck jumper and a matching wool blend skirt. The skirt felt very expensive indeed as I zipped myself into it. After carefully hanging up the halter top I changed in the jumper, I gave myself a once-over look in the dressing table mirror. Everything was fine except now I found myself wanting to change my lipstick. I took a tissue and wiped off the shimmering pink shade, taking care not to disturb the rest of my makeup too much. Lifting my handbag from beside the bed, I undid the clasp it and took out the wild berry shade that Cindy had given me the previous night. It would match with the jumper, I thought to myself as I carefully filled in my lips. A dusting of powder and 2 tissues later, and I was happy with the results. I picked up my handbag and carried it as daintily as I could imagine, and left the room carrying the final vestige of my male identity in the bin bag. Downstairs, Cindy and Laura gave me the thumbs up for my new look. I joined them in the kitchen to wait for Miss Roberts to return. Cindy finished unpacking the grocery shopping whilst Laura took the other bags and put them at the front door. I helped Cindy with the last few items. "Thanks, Sally. Love that jumper. Red really suits you," she said. Laura came back into the room. "Well, that's us just about ready to go then, girls." She looked at me. "Don't worry, Sally. While Karen takes you to settle your account at your flat, Cindy and I are going to get your new room at my place all ready." Cindy nodded. "It's not a full paint job or anything, just fixing you up with fresh bedding and some wardrobe essentials." Laura pointed to the bags at the front door, "And some toiletries and makeup too, just to keep you going until we take you on a girls' shopping trip." I smiled. No doubt the shopping trip would be an experience not to be missed, I thought. At that point, we heard Miss Roberts returning from upstairs. She was very casually dressed and had her car keys in one hand. "Okay then, shall we go? Laura, we should be at your place at around 3 o'clock, so will you have everything finished by then?" Laura nodded. "Sure, I've got all we agreed on, so it's just a matter of getting it unpacked and everything. Do you want me to get some clothes from here for Sally too?" "Yes, that's a good idea. I never wear the clothes in that room anyway, so take what you think Sally might needed for the next couple of weeks. She can always pick up some more stuff later on." "I'll help you, Laura," beamed Cindy. "See you two later then." We arrived outside the building where I had rented a room. I looked out on the street and was glad it was deserted. It was still early on the Sunday morning and the neighbors would not be out and about yet. Here, You'll need your front door and room keys to get in, Miss Roberts said, handing me my keys. With all that had been happening, I plain forgot all about my keys. They must have retrieved them from my trouser pocket when they put my clothes in the bin bag. Come on then, the sooner we get this business cleared up, the sooner we can commence your training. Miss Roberts stepped out of the car, and I followed her up the front path, the sound of my heels breaking the morning silence. Do you have much stuff? She asked. No, not much. Good. This won't take long then, will it? I turned the key in the door and we entered the reception hall. My room was on the first flight and my landlord had all of the rooms on the ground floor. We climbed the stairs and I let Miss Roberts into my room. Inside, the place was tidy. I never kept a great deal and was always tidy, and I could see that Miss Roberts was impressed at how clean the place was. Very good, Sally. You do have a woman's touch when it comes to housework, she complimented. As I put my handbag on the table, she looked about the room and made her way over to my wardrobe. Inside hung my entire clothes collection. It would probably fit in just a few bin bags. Miss Roberts opened her large bag and handed the black refuse sacks. Here, start putting your old stuff away. No room for your books and CDs though. Sorry. I started emptying the clothes into the bags and then moved to the small set of drawers that stored my shirts, t-shirts, socks, and underpants. Within 10 minutes, I had emptied the wardrobe and drawers into 3 black sacks. As Miss Roberts thumbed through my collection of books and music, I became aware that someone was standing in the doorway. It was my landlord. Who the hell are you two? He raged. He gave me a funny look, as if he recognized me, but was not entirely sure how. It's me, Mr. Anderson. I found myself straightening the hem of my skirt as I stood up. My voice gave it away. He was taken aback to find me wearing a skirt and jacket, and he could not take his eyes off my polished fingernails or ignore the clicking of my heels on the floor. Well? He asked, looking at Miss Roberts for an explanation. Who are you? I'm involved with Sally's welfare, replied Miss Roberts as she opened her purse and produced an envelope with a month's rent. She handed it to him and all but commanded the man as to what was going to happen. And she has just vacated her apartment. You'll find the 1 month's notice in there. He opened the envelope and fanned the notes. He was confused. She? Sally, you mean? She nodded as he pointed at me. Yes, Sally needs to leave here to start her new life. He's not a girl, he's a bloke. What's he doing in a skirt and high heels? He looked at me but could not speak. I did not speak either. All I wanted to do was get out of the place and never come back. I wasn't too concerned about the small collection of books and things. He could take them to a charity shop if he wanted. That is a matter of opinion, Mr. Anderson. You don't get many blokes looking that good in a skirt. Miss Roberts replied curtly. We have to go now. You will find an extra $50 inside, which should take care of any cleaning up you might want to do in here. Mr. Anderson looked again at the money. He was not really bothered who stayed in the room as long as he got his money. Miss Roberts indicated that I should collect the bags of clothes, then turned to the landlord. We girls have lots to get on with, so if you'll please excuse us. It was not a request, but an order. Miss Roberts closed her bag, and I put mine back on my shoulder. I lifted the bin bags and hastily followed her back downstairs. From the top of the landing, I heard Mr. Anderson cry out, "What about his mail?" "Oh, you can return it to sender if you want," replied Miss Roberts as she opened the door and we stepped back into the street. Taking the car keys from her bag, I heard her say, "You don't want anything to do with mail, do you, Sally?" As she laughed, we got in the car. The flat Laura stayed in was actually not so far away from where I had lived. It was a single-story apartment with 2 bedrooms, a lounge, kitchen, and bathroom. It looked very girly. Laura and Cindy had worked wonders with the room. The place had been aired and there was fresh linen on the bed. Flowers adorned several vases in the room and the scent of perfume was in the air. I stood surveying the place where I was now going to stay. The pink bed set contrasted with the plain cream walls, and the wooden floor itself was covered with one huge cream-colored rug. A simple dressing table was at one side of the room, and I noticed the selection of cosmetics, hairbrushes, and trinket boxes. Very much in the same vein as the room at Mississippi Roberts' place. Laura pulled aside the mirrored doors of the built-in wardrobe to reveal a cupboard brimming with female attire. Skirts of all lengths and material were neatly arranged alongside various dresses, jackets, and tops. She ran her hand along the clothes as she revealed what was going to be my wardrobe. "You like the clothes, Sally?" I allowed myself a nod as I put my handbag on the bed. Laura moved away from the wardrobe and opened another door to reveal an equally extensive range of footwear. I could remember some of the styles from the magazines and catalogs I'd read. Court shoes, slingbacks, strappy evening sandals, loafers, and what seemed to be at least half a dozen pairs of knee-high leather boots. Every pair was part of the rainbow of colors that shone from the cupboard. "Give a girl the right footwear and you have won her heart," giggled Laura. At my bedside, I was then shown my lingerie drawer. This was full of complete sets of bras, panties, and suspender belts. Silk slips and camisoles were stored in the second drawer along with numerous pairs of tights, hold-ups, and stockings. The third drawer contained a rainbow assortment of t-shirts and scarves and gloves. Miss Roberts looked pleased with the work that the girls had done in so short a space of time. She handed me a large bag, the type that you would get when buying from a designer store and have to sling over your shoulder just to carry it. This one came from La Senza Lingerie, and I had a fair idea what was inside. "Here, Sally, this is a welcome gift from me." Inside the bag, I removed 2 items. One black, the other pink. Both were in a rich satin material that gave them a wonderful sheen. I held the black one up and noticed immediately that this was a corset. Not one of the Basque-style undergarments, but a proper waist-clinching corset that had to be laced up from the back. The pink version was the same. "I told you earlier I couldn't wait to get you laced into a proper corset. You're going to fall in love with these, especially when you see the bust you're going to have." Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access.